And he was like, you wouldn't curse.
Right.
And heckled mercilessly at the Laugh Factory. And so the guy was like, you fucking cocksucker. He's like, very nice, sir. Yeah, very good, yeah. Do you talk to your mother like that? Yeah, why do you suck my cock, you fucker? Very nice, yeah. Good, good for you then.
That's a funny way to handle that, isn't it?
Sometimes I was a little blue on stage.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I just try to avoid Jimmy. Because he'd seek me out and go, you know, you're a funny guy. You got some good jokes. You don't have to do that.
That's a funny impression.
That one time, Michael Richards, this was before the catastrophe.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to go across the country. He would walk on stage and fall and hit it. And the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then he'd start talking about the Bible. And then he said to me, he goes, I'm going to go around the country. Do you think a man could live inside a whale? I go, I don't, you shouldn't talk about it. The only guy I can really do is Richard Nixon. He's being interviewed by David Frost.
Right.
And, you know, they made a movie where they pretended David Frost
won,
Nixon. But in the real tapes, Nixon won, you know, clearly.
Right.
But anyways, it was very funny because Nixon would use the ridiculousness of Watergate against his interlocutor.
Right.
And so David Frost was interviewing Richard Nixon.
Right.
Because Watergate was so ridiculous, Nixon would use that for his own benefit. So at one point, David Frost goes, now, Mr. Nixon, when E. Howard Hunt and Gordon Liddy entered the Watergate hotel and broke into the room, at that moment, they were carrying listening devices and wigs. Richard Nixon goes, well, I suppose that they were carrying listening devices. Perhaps you could call them hearing devices. And wigs. Says now when Howard Hunt and G. Gordon Liddy broke into the Watergate Hotel, they were wearing wigs and listening devices. And Richard Nixon goes, well, I suppose you could say they were wearing listening devices, or perhaps you'd call them hearing devices. And wigs.
I never knew that you had such a flair for impressions. They're really, really good impressions.
I don't do impressions, but I just...
And the Jimmy Brogan, I've never seen anybody do Jimmy Brogan. That was great. I love the Jimmy Brogan.
I went to Rodney Dangerfield's club when it was in Century City in Los Angeles. He opened one. Yeah. For a short time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so the comics would come up, and then after the comics came up, he'd come up. And he'd be wearing his pajamas half the time.
Right, yeah.
And so he'd take questions from the audience. And it was funny because most of the questions were jokes, but then suddenly he'd be honest. So they go, you know, how's your dog? Oh, you kidding, Viddy Boomba, you know. You know, last week he said he had 4 cases of VD. He's all right now, you know. But it's like, you know, how's your dating life going, Rodney? Are you